Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present Miramare, which is the title is Mechanisms of Inverse Relationship between Menarche age and Radiation-Induced Breast Cancer. What is the background for the project? The background for the project is the observation that there is an inverse relationship between the risk of radiogenic breast and uterine cancer and age at menarche, which age is menarche, which means the age of puberty. And you can see this very clearly from the Hiroshima and Nagasaki survivors for different ages at exposure and different attained ages, that girls who had an age at menarche age of 12 showed a much higher excess relative risk per unit gray, per 1 gray, per unit dose, as those 14, 16, 18. And in fact, the relationship is 24% of increase in breast cancer risk, relative breast cancer risk, and 31% for risk of endometrial cancer per reduced menarche, per year of reduced menarche age. And we don't know why this is the case. What the relevance of this project to, and yes, our aim is to find out, to look into it. We will not find the answer, I'm sure, but at least we can narrow down some options. And we think that the project has a high impact because in the population, as you can see on the left side here, generally menarche age is decreasing. We see this everywhere in the USA, in Europe, in other countries as well. And this correlates with obesity. And we know that obesity is a factor contributing to menarche age. And one hormone that regulates obesity or is upregulated in obese people is leptin. And you can see here on the right side that there is a good correlation between the level of serum leptin and body fat index, or body fat in gram in this case. And our hypothesis that we want to test is that leptin in connection with estrogen and progesterone, the sex hormones, interacts in increasing radiosensitivity of breast tissue. So our approach is to go for in vitro I'm trying to get the next slide. Yes. I don't know if this is, I think this is not, bother, let me see. Yeah. So the aim of Miramare is to run in vitro experiments and we will expose cells at high dose rate, low dose rate, and in combination with estrogens, progesterone, and leptin. And we will look at different endpoints related to cancer, so cancer hallmarks. And we have a team of experts in DNA damage and repair and stem cell senescence, immune effects. And we have also on board an expert in data mining and artificial intelligence and biostatistics. And so she will look at she will do data mining on what is available, what information do we have on the impact of these factors on radiosensitivity, and possibly not just on the radiosensitivity, but on risk of cancer. And this is the PERT diagram. We have the usual work package 1, the coordination, then work package 2, which will deal with radiation. We will be radiating cells at Stockholm because we have a big facility to irradiate cells acutely and chronically. And then work package 3, immunological effects, work package 4, senescence and stem cellness, work package 5, data mining. We will be running a course every year. We will start next year, a course on a two-week course that will be embedded in our Stockholm University course for master students. And it's going to be a course on the interaction of radiation with other factors in terms of cancer risk. Then we have a social science aspect, and this we will collaborate with secondary schools on and organize interventions on modifiable cancer risk factors. I have a standing collaboration with a secondary school in Stockholm and also with people from didactics at the Stockholm University. We had a project previously on radiation radiation risk and risk of radiation effects and risk from other let's say, sources, and this was quite successful. So we want to continue this. And so we think that the impact will be on, we will know more about the mechanisms of interaction of radiation and obesity. And this is a big social problem. We will maybe understand, we hope that certainly we will have more information on the relationship between, or mechanisms of the inverse relationship between menarche age and cancer. And these are the senior partners. So I am coordinating the project. We have Serge Candeas from CEA, who is an immunologist, Umberto Galderisi from University of Campania in Naples, who is an expert in cell senescence and cell stemness, Joanna Polańska, who is a biostatistician and expert in data mining, Christoph Badi and Stanislav Polozov from UK HSA, which we will hire as subcontractors or via subcontracting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So yeah, we will keep the questions for after the two other talks. So the second talk in this same topic is UBT RAD by Samuel Valable from CNRS, and its title is Unraveling Brain Tumor Formation After Low Dose Radiation Exposure.
Yes, yes, yes. Just a moment. Unwanted.
Okay. But thank you. Yeah, sure. So thank you so much for the introduction, and I would like to thank all the experts and the committee for selecting our project. It is a great pleasure for me to be in front of you today. And so I would like to thank the people that help us in building this project. I mean, for instance, Florence for SIA and so on, that help us a lot with administrative discussion. So today I would like to introduce our program, which deals, as already mentioned, with the brain tumor formation after low dose exposure. So my name is Samuel Valable. I come from France, in Caen, in Normandy. And so how can I go through the slides? So the scope and the background of this program is based on the incidence of brain tumors that is still increasing. So we know that we have some risk factors such as genetic background, such as ionizing radiation, but we also have some hypotheses that maybe low dose irradiation could also favor the development of brain tumors based on a specific genetic background. Of course, when we speak about brain tumor formation, we have to deal with some specific interaction with the tissue. So in this project, we also would like to address the interaction between the tumor formation in a specific background with irradiation, but also with a specific microenvironment. So to follow the interaction between the tumor cells and the very local environment, but also immune reactions and the redox status. So this program, UBT-RAD, is therefore designed to understand the brain tissue reaction following irradiation and its interaction with the environment. So the partners are in different countries, of course. So partners from France, so two partners, my unit research and Professor Agdust, also from Caen. We have a partner located in Greece, Professor Sotiris Economides. We have a partner located in Germany, Professor Pierre-Olivier Frappa, and of course we have some administrative partners in France and in Germany. The general organization of the program is based on research work package first. So we will have a work package dedicated only to in vitro research. So we will use cells from brain, astrocytes and neural stem cells that will be genetically manipulated, and then we will do low dose irradiation. Then we will move to a more complex work package dealing with interaction between the tumor cells and the environment, so astrocytes, microglia, endothelial cells, and then we will move to an in vivo work package in which we will use transgenic mice that will be irradiated. And of course, we also will have work packages dedicated to teaching and training, but also dissemination and valorization. So the main background of this project is based on some research from the colleague in Germany who published 2 years ago a paper in which he showed that in a specific environment with mutation in NBS1, P53, and P10, the mice develop brain tumor, high-grade brain tumor, such as glioblastoma. And so the hypothesis is that if we use these mice and then if we apply some low-dose irradiation, will we stimulate the brain tumor formation? Will we accelerate? Will we induce much more tumor formation? So for that, as I mentioned, so I will go quickly in the work packages. But first, we will start with cells in vitro. So we'll take astrocytes and neural stem cells, which are the main source of brain tumor formation in the adult. And these cells will be disabled for some genes. And then they will be irradiated with either low dose or with high dose as a kind of positive control. And then we will follow the malignant transformation. In the second work package, the third work package, as I discussed, we want to address the interplay between these cells and the environment. So for that, we will use either astrocyte, microglia, and endothelial cells, native one, that will be irradiated. We will get supernatant, and then we will see how it may interact with these cells. And we also plan to work with co-culture experiments and then also to follow if it changes development of brain tumor. And last, we will move to brain slices. So for that, we will take brain slices from mice. These brain slices will be irradiated and then we will inoculate these cells, mutated cells, and we'll see if it favors the tumor development, or we will irradiate it for the cells and then they will be inoculated in the normal slices. And last, the last research work packages will be devoted to in vivo experiments. So for that, we will use the transgenic mice that will be irradiated at different time of development, juvenile or young adult, receiving either low dose or high dose as a positive control in male and females, of course. So we will be irradiating only the brain first. And so we will see if it favors the brain tumor development. But we also would like to address the effect of out-of-field irradiation. So for that, we will take the same mice. And in this part, we will be irradiated only the body, except the brain. And again, we'll see if we have in the brain tumor development. Then, as previously mentioned, we also plan to have some specific work package around teaching and training, but also, of course, dissemination and valorization. So with that, I would like to end just mention where we will do the science. So for the mice, they are already prepared in Germany. So we'll get it from the colleague in Germany. All irradiation and all in vitro, in vivo studies we will done in Caen. So we have for that a special facility called Ciceron platform, in which we can manage in vitro experiments, in vivo experiments. We can, of course, follow the brain tumor development using imaging, MRI and PET. And I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. This shows the importance of infrastructures and facilities for this kind of research. And the last topic, the last talk for this topic is called CORNET, the program, deciphering the role of microenvironment after low-dose exposure for colon carcinogenesis and radiation risk by Professor Siamak Hagdoust from Caen. Timing is perfect until now.
Oh, okay. Just a moment. Okay. Sorry. Yes, you click here. I would choose here or My name is Siamak Hagdus. I'm from University of Caen, France, Normandy. First of all, I would like to thank evaluation committee as well as the people from the from the General Assembly of course. It's thank you very much, General Assembly, to accept this project, which is focused on colon cancerogenesis with the tumor microenvironment as the second focus, let's say. So basically, we are looking at the role of tumor microenvironment on the colon carcinogenesis with the focus on tumor microenvironment. Just to little bit background, so colorectal cancer, around 1 million deaths per year in the worldwide. So we have it 1.9 new cases per year, and incidence increasing among the younger generation. The lifestyles, of course, are the most important factor, as well as the radiation. In the LSS cohort, so among A-bomb survival, so colorectal cancer is the dead case around 2,000 per year in that cohort, let's say, and then this was done between 1958 to 2009. So it's telling us that maybe radiation that levels are important factor for colon carcinogenesis. So the idea we have, or the hypothesis we have, is that the low dose radiation affect the extracellular vesicles. These extracellular vesicles mediate the cell-to-cell communication in our microenvironment and tumor microenvironment that can facilitate the promotion and progression of the colon carcinogenesis. Of course, the specific roles of this project is the immune, let's say, immune cells. There are several immune cells, as we have to be focused. So we have been choosing macrophages as one of the let's say important driving behind the low dose radiation effect. So what we are going to use is a particular type of mice. It's a KPC-APC mouse model for the human carcinogenesis or for human colon cancer. We are going to use also organoids, which is derived from this mice model, as well as human organoids with the same type of mutations. And we are going to have a so-called in silico study for finding the relation between the colon carcinogenesis and radiation risk. The goal of the project CORNET is to illustrate how low dose of radiation influence so-called non-mutational process within the tissue microenvironment that contribute to colon carcinogenesis. And this knowledge will be translated to a quantitative assessment of the human radiation cancer risk through application of the system biology as well as biological based risk modeling. And this will be, of course, this project has two very important, let's say, scientific work package. Work package number 2 is which deals with the mice irradiation and mice organoids taken care by the IRSN people. So you have Dimitri here in the audience, as well as Guillaume Vares, who is going to take care of these mice, irradiate them at IRSN, isolate some tissues, also EVs, and send to BFS, where we have Simone Mortel and Omid Zimzadeh, who is going to take care of the EVs, looking at what is inside the EVs and also setting up the organoid model from mouse as well as from the human system. For the human organoids, so we have an INSERM team from University of Nantes who will, let's say, who are dealing with the treating colon cancer, or they are actually also expert in the colon development, so developmental biologists. So this is an example. I will skip it at the moment. We have work package number 4 dealing with the modeling and the system biology, which also taken care by the BFS, Jan Christian Kaiser, and also Markus Edmüller. So our expert in this modeling and the system biology. And finally, the information from work package number 2, 3 will be fed to work package number 4. Then all the information will be fed to work package number 5. Our colleagues from Italy, Maria Grazia and Risa, and also Jonica Campablo, will help us for setting up the education and training activities. So the budget we were asked to introduce. So the total budget of the project is it should be 1.5. So and anyway, you can see that there are. So as for the coordinator, we have a total budget of 500,000 roughly, and then for IRSN, which are doing a main work on the mice and in vivo, and another 500,000. So so the main risk of this project actually is, first of all, we have identified that perhaps the problem with the radiation machine could be one of the issue, and because of the building and reparation, which is ongoing at the moment, I guess, as I understood, at IRSN. So this has been discussed. We have also alternative to do the mouse experiment, for example, at BFS, as well as in Caen, as Samuel showed you, you have a good facility there as well. And as the project is strictly based on the sending biosamples to each other and do different analysis, so perhaps there is also risk for to have damaged, let's say, the tissue that has been sent to the other partner. But this has been discussed, and we at Stockholm University and also Caen University, where I'm working actually in both places, we have a great experience on sending samples to the different partners within different European projects. So finally, there are some few other people are very important contribution to this project. In Caen, we have Dr. Karin Rohan and also a PhD student at IRSN, Melisandre. And then we have a team in CERN from Nantes University, which are also very important player within the project. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. May I ask the two other speakers to come here, please, for the discussion? So now we have some time for discussion of the combined three talks, and feel free to ask a question. Let me start with you. Well, I mean, you are using, I think, breast and endometrial cells, and you are using leptin. Do we know if there are leptin receptors on those cells, or is it, I mean, what's known about this? Oops.
Yes, that we know. So I don't know what more I can say. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, so I mean, what is physiologically the effect of leptin on breast cells? I mean, is that something that is really known, or is it?
I cannot tell you right now. It's no, it's I'm not. No, before I start to fantasize, I rather say I don't know.
Okay, yeah, okay, but because I was thinking like maybe co-culture with some brain cells, or I mean maybe there's something in the brain cells that will, because we know that there are leptin receptors in the hypothalamus and the brain cells, and maybe that there is a secondary mediator of that effect. I mean that would be nice.
Yes, thank you for the idea. We'll see.
Any question on? Okay. Oh, oops.
Great. Thank you so much. So it's a question for Andre again, I'm afraid. Really great project. Thank you. So you're going to be working with students in schools,
Yes.
I understood, which is brilliant, really great to see. And from what you presented, the idea is to sort of share and disseminate information to them. Have you thought about using them as part of your stakeholder group, so getting some input from the students on development of the project as well?
No, I haven't. But so the idea is that we had a project before where we tried to see the idea that has been haunting me for a long time is how to include some more teaching about radiation-induced health risks in school. And this is not it's not possible because the school programs are overloaded and nobody is willing to teach more about radiation. So the thing is that the trick is to teach, to include things about, let's say, issues related to radiation effects in a topic that is broadly known as including scientific literacy of students. And there is a big interest among teachers to do this. So we can smuggle through this topic by selling it as we are increasing scientific literacy. But of course we can, and there has been, in terms of risk, there was a big, I think it was a successful project. We had very good feedback from the students. They were interested when we were telling them about radiation risk and risk of related to other, let's say, industrial or technological developments and so on. So that's something like this, but yeah.
There are two questions.
So first of all, congrats to all winning projects, also from my side. And then Andre, my question is also to you, because I was wondering, you said that you want to understand the effect of ionizing radiation on the three hormones together, basically.
Yes.
Can you also separate the effects on the different hormones? And,
yes, that is planned, of course.
Okay.
We will look at effects of individual factors as well.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Sandre. As you know, leptin is involved in the angiogenic process, perhaps. So it increases inflammation and increase endothelial cells proliferation. So are you going to focus on vascularization? Or?
Not directly on vascularization, but maybe we will do co-culture experiments. I don't know. This is a question to Serge Candeias, who's an immunologist. I would direct this question to him, but he's not here, so I can't answer.
That's an easy answer.
He's online.
Ah.
I just asked him to be online.
So congratulations to everybody. I'm really happy to have some other research project dealing with experimentation. That's really nice. And especially on brain cancer, I'm sure we can organize meetings together, have nice outcome. I felt rather alone up to now. So thank you very much.
The presentation yesterday. Thank you. So I'm sure we can, of course, discuss together.
We have an online question. Can you read it?
No, I can't read it, but no, because there's no.
Oh, there's no question.
There's no question. Evgenia, this is your turn. If you want to ask a question, please feel free.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jacqueline. Good morning, everyone. It's a question to maybe more common than a question to Angie. You cited the data from atomic bomb survivors showing that the risk of breast cancer increased with decreasing age at menarche. But probably the mechanisms that you are investigating in this particular project cannot be applied to female Japanese population that definitely didn't have a problem with obesity and definitely did have high levels of leptin, especially taking the status of nutrition and the overall body or average body mass index in Japanese population. So it's good that you said that you will test the mechanisms individually. So you will consider hormone-specific effects on the breast cancer cells, because I think maybe for current situation, the obesity is an issue and leptin is definitely one of the possible hormones to look at. But in case of the atomic bomb survivor studies, maybe that's not the mechanism that could explain the increased risk and its association with age and menarche. So something to think about. Thank you.
Yes, Evgenia, thanks very much. I completely agree with you, but we have to start somewhere. And if you look now, what is the factor that influences, the primary factor influencing menarche age? Obesity. So let's have a look. But I agree with you. I'm very well aware of this. Thanks for the comment.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a question there, but if we can shift to the other talks, it would be good.
Thank you very much. I want to also, congratulate all the winners. And I got a question. You're using, for the two last talk, you're using actually transgenic mice. And we know that using transgenic mice, we're forcing actually a condition. How you want to use actually to translate your work to the human population? That's the first thing. And the second thing, none of you, I think, spoke about the context is when we got actually cancer after radiation and when we got actually brain tumor after radiation.
So Francois, considering the colorectal projects, so actually it's an inducible mutation. So it means that we treat the mice with the tamoxifen, wait for a week, 2 weeks. Then we know that these mice will develop kind of problem in the intestinal tract, and then after that we add radiation to that. Actually, this model is already initiated, so we are not studying initiation effect, starting effect. So what we are doing is that but as they are spontaneously having the problem with the colon and produce colon cancer, so we add to that radiation and see if this process accelerating up, if the tumor size become smaller, bigger, we don't know. So that is a way we are thinking to study the so-called this low dose effect. Mm-hmm. And considering the translation to the human, actually is very difficult, as you mentioned. But what we, at the starting point, we are going to have a human model, organoid model, both from the human tumor and human normal colon, irradiating the same way and looking at the same end.
Samuel?
Yeah, so and for us, Francois, so last year when we applied, we involved some clinical studies in parallel of our works, like translation parts. But when we get the report, we were asking to remove this part because it was challenging to move from the mice to the patient, and that in this call, the idea was not to move to clinical trials. So that's why we remove it. But yes, of course, we have it in mind that transgenic mice is not, of course, or can always be challenging. Sure.
Well, and in colon cancer, I mean, the human genetics is really present. I have a question for you. Oh, you want to continue? Sorry.
No, I think you have another question, Francois. I don't.
I will repeat it. I will repeat. Yeah, the context on the irradiation. Yeah.
What do you mean with the context?
So that's.
You're speaking more during radiology exams, imaging, you're about actual contamination.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yes, so yes,
when
the context, yes, was mostly based on low dose during childhood due to CT scan, for instance, radiology. And then we know that after CT scan, we get the exam card, we can quantify the amount of dose deposition, which is very low, but in some cases we receive various CT scan during time. So yes, it is this kind of concept. Yes.
In the chemical world, I mean, people, you know, the most vulnerable period is the fetal period. Are you doing that also? I mean, are you trying to do that? Because that's where, you know, we see most of the effects in chemicals.
So for us, we only induced very young animals, but not fetus, because then it can be challenging. I mean, with pregnant mice and so on. So that's why we restricted to the very early days.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay. I think, last question, and then we have to move.
Thank you so much. I think that it's really appropriate to have it at the last question because it doesn't relate to the content of your presentation. They were really excellent, but it's more about procedural. So the fact is that we don't have diversity here. We have middle-aged men presented here on the stage, and highly centered on around the France. I mean, so my question is, what our community can do that also other members of our society, for instance, women or Eastern European countries and so on, could get on such an important positions like being coordinator or leading the work packages and so on. How can we help other members of our society to be also taking to be presented at this stage in this field? Thank you.
Who would like to answer this one?
Thank you for telling that we are young people still here.
Yeah.
Can I say a few words?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for calling me middle-aged. No, Tanya, that's very nice. But I look, if we could, of course, introduce in the call text or in the evaluation criteria, sex as a factor. But do you really want to go for this? Say, well, we will give preferentially projects to women, to female applicants. I think this is not going to be appreciated by women either, because you're introducing something that is a factor which is not related to quality of science. It's difficult. I agree with you. So the only thing we can do is promote.
I think it is fair to say that whether the scientific committee that evaluated this program was a mixed, I don't know about that, but it's, I think, important that the scientific committee that evaluates this kind of, research program consists of a mixed population from women, men, Eastern, Western, etc. Then it's fair. Then the competition is fair. That if it's only men, yeah, I agree that it would be. But I think we are making some progress in this, but maybe not enough progress. And I think your comment is well taken, and we should maybe discuss it at the end. Thank you very much. I think we can move to. We can move to the next topic, which is different now. The topic is now on implementing new and optimized radiation therapy approaches for better targeting to protect healthy tissue, but better against detrimental effect of ionizing radiation. So it's a different topic. We will start with a project called Kayak Plus by Esther Proust. Esther.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you can hear me.
Okay. She's online.
Yes,
okay,
I'm online.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. And I hope I also am one of the examples of the gender and let's say equality balance that we just had a second ago. So good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be there on this short notice, but I'm very privileged to be able to present a presentation which we sent to you. So I think it's going to be shared, hopefully. Yes, super. Thanks very, very much. So Kayak Plus aims at finding out and gaining knowledge on the outcome of both adolescents and young adults with cancer. And I present this on behalf of the European Particle Therapy Network of Work Package 8. On the next slide, we'll give a bit of background of the reason why we think Kayak Plus is worth to be investigated. Could you go to the next slide, please?
Sorry, I make a mistake.
No problem.
Right? Yeah, for you, but not for the audience online. I just make a mistake in my sharing part. Sorry, I correct that. Where are you? You are here. Okay. This is not the one. The good. I think it's this one. Sorry.
No problem at all. Thanks very much. So indeed, as you can see here, the adolescents and young adults account for the patients aged between 15 and 39 years of age. And in Europe, about 150,000 patients are diagnosed with cancer in this age group every year. And we know that in AYA patients, the treatment outcome and its improvement lag behind that of pediatric and adult patients. So we've seen quite some improvement there over the last years, but we have not seen it as much as in AYA patients. There are common types of AYA cancers. For some of those, radiation plays an important part. It's on the one hand, the breast. It's also tumors of the lymphatic system, so lymphomas and non-Hodgkin lymphomas that are present in the mediastinum, but also others like melanomas and sarcomas that play quite a role in these patients, apart from brain tumors, especially low grade. On the next slide. Yes, so we see that there is an ever increased amount of work that we should do, and us is the European Particle Therapy Network. I'll show you in a minute who's going to be the core members of the group working on this. The members have both photons and also proton facilities either at their own premises or very nearby. So we have a large data set that we want to acquire. So we want to establish a database that is going to include early and late toxicity, survival, and patient-specific characteristics, but also treatment plans, integral diagnostics, and therapeutic doses that we are going to retrieve for those patients and are going to store in the database, not from the moment of funding onwards, obviously, but also going back. So some of the centers have been treating patients for 15 or 20 years, and also those data will be acquired and put in this database. We want to estimate the radiation burden of those AYA patients and identify factors related to the development of secondary tumors, apart from the development of, or let's say the establishment of their outcome. It will be embedded in an ever-increasing network of registries, and you're going to hear in the presentation this morning by my colleague, who's number 6, let's say, in a row, also on Harmonic. So it's on the pediatric database and also on Strong AYA, which we collaborate with in the future. And we want to contribute to the knowledge on treatment toxicity and outcome, including various sources of low-dose radiation, also their effects on the secondary cancer risk in those AYA patients. Next slide, please. So knowledge gain, well, we looked at the impact that we want to have. So we really want to generate impact to generate evidence. We want to also go on the individual patient level. So we want to guide them in the future and also find out who's going to benefit from photons as compared to proton therapy on an individual basis, taking both patient preferences and also tumor characteristics into account. Kayak Plus also aims at being incorporated into national and international guidelines. We want to have the possibility to look into health costs and policy making, and this will also be a seeding grant for the ESTRO EPTN Pan-European database, in which we aim to store data for photon and particle patients, so that's pediatric patients, AYA patients, and adult patients in the future using a federated learning approach. On the next slide, you see the composition. So there will be 2 PhD students incorporated in this project. One is going to be more on a clinical perspective, looking at toxicity and treatment outcome in AYA patients. The other one is going to look more into the radiation burden, into the out of field dose, so more physics related, and they will both contribute to the aims that are just formulated in the Kayak registry. The partners involved are from Dresden, from Groningen, Aarhus. It's also a French collaborators. Scandion Kliniken is part of it, and the Polish colleagues, the Belgian colleagues, and Italian colleagues. So a lot of different partners contributing to this hopeful success and envisioned success of Kaya Plus. The duration is 48 months. We will start on the 1st of February, already started with the contract that we have to have, and the budget that we are going to allocate is, well, almost the maximum that we could ask for. So we hope that this is going to be very successful. Last slide. I think that's already the supporters indeed. So you see Harmonic and Strong AYA. So all these centers and also different entities and industry partners also supported us in the sense of that they stated it's important that we're going to do this research. So Electra Research and IBA, but we also have 3 centers that already said, if you have this running, it was a bit of a, let's say, administrative hurdle to have them also in the Kayak Plus proposal as we speak, but they were not eligible at the moment. So these 3 mentioned centers will contribute later as soon as we have started. So Med Austron, Instituto Europeo di Oncologica, and Centre Barclays, they will contribute as soon as we are up and running, and Harmonic and Estro and Strong AYA support this as well. So thank you very, very much for funding this. We will look forward to making this pan-European database run, and looking forward to your questions after the other 2 talks. Thanks very much.
Yes, please stay with us. So we will have a discussion after. So the next talk will be on a project called Empathy. That's a nice title. Yeah. Evaluation and optimization of proton arc therapy by Dr. Carles Goma from Barcelona.
It's settled. I want to thank for the invitation. I think it's a very good initiative to have the opportunity to present briefly the ideas of our projects. Yeah. So yeah, this project is on evaluation and optimization of proton arc therapy. And see, how do I do this with the mouse? Okay. So what's the background? In conventional radiation therapy, the treatment is rotational, right? So we moved from fixed angles to irradiating the patient all around. This allowed to conform radiation dose much better to the target. It's faster. It has a kind of uniform workflow for almost any site. So it just became the standard, right? Since development to implementation now, I would say like the vast majority of treatments are rotational, right? Then we have protons, right? Protons, they stop inside the patient and they don't deliver any dose behind the tumor. So the main advantage of protons, and this is state of the art right now, right? It's fixed beam angles. And the main advantage is that we achieve that lots of healthy tissue receive zero dose, not low dose, just really zero, right? But of course, the industry is developing also rotational proton therapy because of some of the advantages that we see already in radiation therapy. It can conform the dose better. It could potentially be faster. It could potentially have a smoothest workflow. However, here it's not so obvious, right? Because we're kind of losing the advantage, the intrinsic or the highest selling point of protons. We're losing it. We're actually irradiating more of the healthy tissue. And on top of that, in conventional radiation therapy, it's just that we put the dose somewhere else, right? We are not, when we move to fixed angles to rotational therapy, we are basically redistributing this dose. However, here not. In order to make an arc, we're choosing sometimes suboptimal beam angles. So we are increasing the dose. We are giving more dose to the patient, right? So for protons, and just to be clear, this is under development. It's not commercial at this point, but it will be very soon, hopefully in the next couple of years. So the first objective is, let's evaluate that. For protons, it's not that straightforward. It's not so easy. We have to find out the leverage between dose conformity, what we really need for this treatment for this patient right now, but also the late effects, right? And we decided to focus on what we think is the worst case scenario, or one of the worst case scenario, pediatric brain tumors. And also, another goal of the project is, well, let's optimize. I mean, this technology is under development. There is a lot of room for improvement. So we also want to optimize the technique, treatment planning, and delivery, and also the imaging associated to the whole radiotherapy treatment, right? So these are the goals, and this is the team. We have a team in Barcelona, which is a collaboration between the University Hospital, where I come from, and the two pediatric hospitals, Sant Joan de Déu and Vallebron, and we will take care of work package number 1, that I will, it's like to evaluate the technique as it is right now. Then KU Leuven they are actually leading, one of the leaders in the research of this field, proton arc therapy. They will handle the optimization part of the delivery technique. And Dresden, with also Professor Trust that she spoke before, they are also one of the pioneers in introducing novel CT dual energy techniques in radiotherapy. and they will take care of the optimization of the imaging part of the treatment. Oh, and sorry, just to mention, we're quite a balanced team. We are 4 males, 3 females, 3 physicists, 4 radiation oncologists. So it just happened like that. It's not that we look for it. So what do we want to achieve? We want to develop toxicity models for brain in pediatrics, and we also want to develop a patient selection tool to be able to decide whether patients should get proton arc therapy or not based on a quantitative metric, not just, you know, clinicians saying, oh yeah, this looks better, right? We want to develop new treatment plan optimization algorithms, also enabling online adaptive in this setting, which is not straightforward. Also, and developing photon counting CT-based imaging protocols for pediatrics. And at the end of the day, let's say the whole idea is to end up with a standard protocol for proton arc therapy in pediatric brain tumor. We want to summarize, collect all this knowledge, and then come up with a proposal of not standardization, but kind of recommendations, guidelines on how to use this technique in pediatrics. So that's an expected impact. So we will develop and validate these toxicity models that can be used for the society. Develop also this precision medicine platform where we will have to integrate all the pieces of the puzzle. So the radiotherapy dose, imaging dose, toxicity models, secondary cancer risk. And then at the end of the day, we also aim at reducing radiation exposure to healthy tissue by optimizing PAT and optimizing imaging protocols in photon counting CT imaging. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we will have the questions at the end. Thank you. So the next talk is about the project called Doselia, another nice topic. It's on computing whole body radiation dose distribution and subsequent cancer risks from modern radiotherapy techniques in pediatric patients. So in order to balance the sex ratio here, we have 2 ladies. One will be online, and it's the one that is indicated in the program, Charlotte Robert, and Neige Jourmy will be, you know, here with us, and she will be presenting this. She's from Gustave Roussy in France.
So good morning. I'm doing this presentation on behalf of Charlotte Robert with the project coordinators from Gustave Roussy in France. So the scope of Doselia is to address the need for treatment optimization of radiotherapy to reduce the health effects of the exposures of autophyll normal tissues. So there are 3 main gaps here. The first one is the lack of tools which are accurate and fast enough for application in clinical routine. The second one is the lack of risk assessment models, which can apply also in clinical in the treatment planning process, and which are specific to the pediatric patients who have a very high burden of second primary cancers and other late effects. And the third gap here is the uncertain impact of advanced techniques of radiotherapy, in particular proton therapy, and especially for children. So our ambition in Doselia is to develop a user-friendly software, dosimetry software for autofilled doses and risk assessment, which can apply to photon and proton therapy, which will consider both the therapeutic exposures and the imaging doses for treatment planning and patient positioning. So here, the key concept of Deselia is to develop a software which could apply to the daily clinical practice, meaning that which will be accurate, fast enough, and will only requires the data which are available at the time of the treatment planning process, meaning the DICOM data. So for doing this, we will use and develop a new generation of models which are based on artificial intelligence. And we will also provide guidance for radiation oncologists and physicists to incorporate the outcomes into treatment planning, the treatment planning process. So the project team includes physicists, clinicians, epidemiologists, radiation biologists, and data scientists from Denmark, France, and Germany, with two new institutes from the current Pianoforte consortiums. A large proportion of the budget will be used for hiring students and young scientists, and the project is planned for 4 years. The project is structured into 6 work packages. One is missing here in this slide. I'm sorry. And each partner being responsible for 1 or 2 packages. So in Doselia, we will be using the data and the infrastructures developed within the EU-funded project Harmonic, which will be presented later. And these projects have implemented a registry of children and adolescents treated with modern radiotherapy techniques with a detailed collection of clinical data, including the DICOM files. So using this data and also the outcome of previous research projects, we will extend analytical and Monte Carlo models which had already been developed by the Doselia partners for photons, protons, and KV imaging protocols. Here they will be extended to cover more devices and conditions of irradiations, and also to be validated against new experimental measurements. These models will be coupled with whole body anatomy representations, combining planning CT images and phantoms to generate training and testing data sets that will be used to retrain the IA-based algorithms. So these IA-based models have already been trained with a large data set of data for non-modulated photon radiotherapy, and here they will be trained again to cover advanced techniques of photons and protons. These models will be, in parallel, we will develop models for risk assessment for second primary cancer based on, we will combine the latest results from biological and epidemiological research studies, and together, so the main outcomes of Doselia will be then the production of a software prototype. We will combine the whole body anatomy representations, this IA-based model, and the risk assessment models for protons, photons, and also for the imaging procedures with the aim to improve treatment optimization in daily clinical practice. And also another foreseen impact of this project is that since the software will be used to generate in very short computing times, very large data sets of whole body dose maps, we think that it will be able to support research on the late outcomes of advances in radiotherapy, especially proton therapy. So thank you very much. We are very grateful to Pianoforte for your support. And I would like also to thank the people who help us with the administrative matters, and also the people from the Harmonic Consortium who contributed in the preparation of this proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's remain here. So now we have some time for the discussion, and we already have questions.
Sit
So.
or you can stay as you wish. Yeah.
Congratulations to everybody and thank you for presentations. I have actually two questions, if I may. First question to Project Kayak and Desiela. Radiotherapy cancer patients often receive chemotherapy, concurrent chemotherapy. So especially for Kayak, I was wondering if you are planning to estimate risks of second cancers in radiotherapy only versus radiotherapy and chemotherapy, and also terminology, the second cancer and subsequent primary cancer, is it the same thing? So that's the question for
Thank you very much. So question one, yes, certainly, because a lot of people and young patients will receive concomitant or at least neoadjuvant chemotherapy. This will be monitored and play a role. And in Strong Aya, these data are already captured. So we really envision together with Jeanette van der Graaf, who is chairing Strong Aya or coordinating Strong Aya, to also look back into this if we have missing data, if we look retrospectively. So thanks for that comment, and obviously it will be taken into account. Regarding the subsequent primary tumors and secondary cancers, if you look in the literature, there's a slight difference in how it is used, but it's really, really often, I think, mixed. And I'm a radiation oncologist, so if there's some input and some clarification how to use this more precisely, please let me know. So for me, secondary tumors are really those that arise also from where we have irradiated before, especially in the adjacent areas, but we want to find out also in lower dose areas. The subsequent primary tumors can also be, in some aspects, mixed by patients who are more amenable to have other primary tumors later on because of their lifestyle or genetic inheritance. And this is, I think, distinctly different from the first type. But if you have some information there, please let me know, as I say. So it's really, really mixed if you look at the literature. So very carefully taken also in our application.
So thank you for the question. Yes, there is some debates regarding the terminology. For me, secondary cancers is more like a theoretical concept, and I prefer to use the term second primary cancer, because second primary cancer, of course, can be subsequent to radiotherapy, but also to other cancer treatments and other risk factors. So, and we never know. Regarding chemotherapy in Dozelia, our idea is, of course, in harmonic database, like in Kayak, we are collecting data on chemotherapy, and it is very important to be able to assess the combined effect of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So we really want to address this in harmonic in the futures based on the dosimetry from Dozelia and the clinical data collected in harmonic.
Thank you. Can I? Yeah. It's going to be quick. So for empathy project, I didn't quite understand your toxicity models will be developed based on laboratory experiments or patient or
retrospective clinical data
from the patients.
Retrospective, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions here? So let me start here.
That's okay. My first question's for Kayak Plus. I wondered whether, I realised that there's never enough money, but have you considered a biorepository, or will that information on biology be collected in the database anyway because it's being collected?
Thank you for your comment there. So we strongly interacted with Strong Aya. They already have some of the, for instance, saliva and hair follicles that are being taken and have collected those. So far in Kayak Plus, we have not agreed upon which translational research we want to do. So we will investigate what kind of blood collection programs people and departments are running anyway to try and get those data incorporated as well. But the money, as you spoke, because we considered having this in a prospective manner, also included the money was not enough to have this already here in the grant. So we see this really as a seeding grant, which will then end up in national and international programs to get more money to have more biological data coming together with the dosimetric and outcome data that we gather from Kayak itself.
And you may be able to encourage the individual centers involved.
Absolutely. I mean, the 10 centers, there's at the moment there's approximately 30 centers treating with particles in Europe. We collected those also very carefully to have the academic centers to lead this seeding grant and to be able to lead and path the way basically to have the translational research also in if other centers in the future are going to be part of Kayak Plus as well.
I have a second question for the second speaker. Are you going to be doing spatial analysis so that you can identify sub-regions where you need to have dose minimization?
What do you mean by spatial analysis? Of course, we will take into account the dose distributions received by the patients. Is that what you mean, or?
There's more work being done on Tiziana Rancati does it and Alan McWilliams in Manchester. So, for example, for lung cancer irradiation, they've identified the base of the heart as a region. If you have too high a dose there, and they talk about spatial distributions and analysis, and then subsequent work will minimize the doses so that your organ at risk doses will be lower to sub-regions.
Yeah. So just a disclaimer, I'm a physicist, so I think that would be a better answer by a physician, but it really depends on the toxicity that we want to evaluate. So for instance, for hearing impairment, there is not really, I would say there is not much need to, do substructures of the cochlea, whether for the brain, yeah, of course, we will look at different parts of the brain. I don't know.
So all this work is led by physicists. There's some excellent work, and there is interest in looking at whether there is a subregion of the hearing apparatus where you need to minimize the dose. So it might be an area to consider.
Okay. Yeah,
People
thanks for the
working in
comment.
that area, all led by physicists.
Thank you. Here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, congratulations to the project. I have a question for Dozelia, actually, because you mentioned you will also do AI-based dose estimates for imaging processes. Actually, there has been a lot of work being done in previous EU projects. So what is the difference? I mean, John is here, and I think he will basically talk about that also later on. So maybe you can explain why you think you need a new development here.
Yes, the work done on this question will be based on the programs who had already been developed by CEA, which are already working, but here they will be extended to apply to the protocols used in Harmonic, so to new KV imaging protocols.
But the software for dose evaluation and imaging is not depending on the protocols.
I think we have to. Okay, comment on this.
It's really a short comment. I think the imaging we are considering in Dozelia, and that was considered in Harmonic, is the treatment, the combined CTs and the onboard imaging procedures, which is different from traditional diagnostic imaging.
Sorry, I think we should leave this to your own discussion.
Yeah, okay, so very short question for Empathy project. So you will be delivering low dose with low LET in the tissue. So what is the readout of toxicity to build the NTCP model? I mean, which kind of toxicity do you expect to see?
No, the NTCP are more for radiotherapy doses, so kind of deterministic effects. But of course, when we then put all the pieces together, especially when you look at like young kids, right, you also have to take into account not only like the deterministic effects, but maybe like stochastic effects So we want to put all the pieces together, but actually I was very interested in your project because it kind of fits well with just one piece of the puzzle to learn. We are not planning to reinvent the wheel in every piece of the puzzle. We identified that for I mean the NTCP models we kind of wanted to develop and or validate whatever is there. But yeah, of course, I mean, for, I don't know, secondary risk due to neutron dose, secondary cancer risk, we will not develop anything. We will take what is there from the literature.
Last question. Actually, one question and one comment. For the empathy project, how do you account for the technical limitations that modern proton facilities have only 200 degrees gantries, while the older one have 360 degrees?
Well, I mean,
you show one image where you show the very nice
not...
arc from below, which will not be possible to deliver on modern facilities.
It will be possible to deliver in some, in the one you have, for instance, in Uppsala, right? But I think, I mean, at this point, I don't think this is I mean, a key.
It's one factor you should consider probably. I mean,
of course,
the modern facility in Leuven has a limited arc.
Yes,
the older ones, it's possible to deliver in theory, but it requires quite a lot of technological investment from the company, from the site to enable arc therapy. Okay.
But just let me finish. So I think that what you say it's true, but there are a couple of remarks. One is most of the literature on proton arc therapy use only like a partial arc, and also in theory in a system like the one in Leuven or the new more modern machines, you could always rotate the patient and complete the arc on the other side.
So, 2 arcs.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But the dose at the end of the day is the same.
And finally, a comment for Dosilia. There will be a paper coming out in Physica Medica regarding the framework for dose estimation and summation from secondary doses and imaging doses in proton and photon therapy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the discussion, I mean, today, and it's really great. So, I mean, one comment is that many of your topics relate to precision medicine on one hand, maybe digital twins for the last one. I mean, in a way you are modeling somehow. So there are calls, I mean, on this other than, in Pianoforte. I mean, there are calls in the EU, and I think you should really consider, maybe having some, application to complete what you're doing. Thank you very much. So we'll move now to the last topic, which is on readiness and scientific knowledge to support environmental impact assessment and emergency preparedness and response to novel nuclear technologies. This is a major problem. The first project is Catapult, Comprehensive Assessment and Preparedness for Emerging Nuclear Technology by Fabrizio Gabrielli from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology.
So thanks a lot for the for the introduction of our project. So thanks a lot to the Pianoforte team also for supporting me with the thousands of emails that I sent you. I'm sorry I stalked you, and of course the General Assembly to having finally approved the project. So I steal the time now in order to have more time later. Okay, so so yes, so the roller, only the roller. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. Yes, thanks a lot. So, yes, so the Catapult project, I'm very, very glad to introduce you this, our comprehensive assessment and preparedness for emerging nuclear technologies activity on behalf of the our consortium. What is the background? So as you may know, the emergency environmental impact assessment and emergency preparedness and response are mainly based on the of course of the knowledge that we have gained for decades on a large water reactor, as well as for regulatory approaches and risk communication. But of course, as you may know, in the recent years, there is a big push for so-called modular reactors. It was very difficult for us in particular to find just a common way to merge with the same name SMRs and AMRs, and they pose some challenges for the actual approaches. In particular, there is a lack of understanding in the state-of-art modeling for such kind of analysis because of the characteristic of these new technologies, because as you may know, they are expected to be deployed in smaller vulnerable regions from the hydrological point of view. And since we are facing advanced system, we have also to look at the capabilities of our current codes to address the specific physical chemical characteristics of some of these systems. I think about gas and liquid fast reactor. Of course, this has an effect because on the Euratom Basic Safety Standards needs, because how to address in this framework the deployment of these systems. And last but not the least, is very important the public acceptance, in particular when new nuclear technologies appear in the market, in the society. So, and therefore the communication and engagement of the community must be, of course, in line with the principle of trust and transparencies. What is important to observe is that all of these three main areas, so modeling, compliance, and communication, are interlinked each other. So, and our thinking is that we cannot go further by isolating the different researches in these three areas, but if we want to have a fast and solid the deployment of these systems in the future, as it is in EU, we should harmonize all of these areas, and therefore catapult. So. Okay, which aims at building a comprehensive guidance on AI and PNR by cross-linking the technical and social aspects. In particular, for environmental and those modeling, we have to improve. We plan to improve and adapt the current state-of-art modeling for those environmental transport models for, of course, modular reactors, and deliver the general framework tailored to the needs of these systems. Also, of course, and the data sites, also, of course, take into account the wishes and the needs of the end users. Then the science-based regulatory compliance. We plan to deliver a comprehensive set of recommendations to all the actors involved, including, of course, the feedback from the community. And we come to the last point where we hope to go beyond the existing strategies, because we want to develop a sort of bottom to the top approach, so a community-driven participatory framework where the communities are engaged to co-design the risk communication. So. Having this in mind, we assess a consortium of 8 organizations coming from different areas, so research centers, TSOs, and universities, and with the different I would say backgrounds, okay? And RSN, KT, Marians, NFG, Raden, SCK-SEN, Stuck, and the University of Lusophone in Lisbon. We match together the expertise in order to produce this harmonization. And we have a total budget of 1.5 million with 152 PMs for 3 years project starting from February 2025, and we will host some PhDs and many younger researchers So just I try to do my best to go further. Okay, so what is the work plan and the methodology? So we have 5 technical working packages. The first one aims at building a database, including the source term, the siding, we selected the representative siding, and the scenarios for the advanced modular reactors, one water-cooled, generally water-cooled, one gas and lead the fast reactor. And then, of course, we move to the adaptation, enhancement, and analysis, but not development. We have not enough money for the dose assessment, radionuclide transport. And these 2 working packages are led respectively by Energy and KAT, Energy in particular by Gover David. About the working package 3, in particular, it is expected that we prioritize the features concerning the dose modeling. And for this, we plan a strong interaction with the next working package, which is led by, if I can switch, which is led by RSN, by Marie-Simon Cornu, where the regulatory guidance will be developed based on different sources. First of all, of course, the case studies in the previous working packages, but roundtables with experts coming from authorities and TSOs, and of course, it's important the feedback for a wider audience, which also include the public. And we come to the working package 5, which is led by ACK, Sen, in the person of Tanya Perko, where which is based on the community engagement, and in particular, we want to develop a 2-stage community-driven approach in order to mitigate the famous NIMBY response. We have to develop a citizen center and evidence risk communication strategy by using a design thinking approach. And last but not the least, we want to employ the Delphi method. Used to, of course, implementing the guidance for the effective evidence based risks. So in the end, Catapult, in order to fulfill our goals, Catapult must be an interdisciplinary research, and I like very much this expression. So the idea, we will in our methodology cross-fertilized the different research disciplines, trying to learn each other to develop a fit-for-purpose framework on modeling, regulatory compliance, and engagement with the community. So in summary, and here there is also the expected impact of the project, Catapult is tailored to the specific needs of modular reactors by taking into account all different aspects of the deployment of new systems, and the framework is evidence-based. So the framework builds a state of science in the environmental dose modeling. We contribute to new kind of communication science, and it is strongly driven by extensive stakeholder program, because large part of the budget is devoted to the organization of workshops with, as I already mentioned, with authorities, TSO, and the local communities. Therefore, Catapult, the impact of Catapult that we expect is the main one, is delivering valuable outcomes to provide guidance to all of the stakeholders involved in the licensing process, and develop a first step towards a standardized and fit-purpose approach for EAI and EPNR. And I'm glad also to introduce you the Catapult community. So that's all on my side. I hope that I was in time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll ask you back later for the discussion. Now we are moving to the next topic on gyroscope, guidance for innovative reactor offsite consequences, planned and emergency. It is delivered by Anna Warszynczak-Zaban from Poland. So we're going east, but I think she's online. Yeah.
Yes, hello everybody.
Hi.
First of all, thank you very much for accepting our proposal. I'm very happy to join your community, because this is our first joining from the CBJ as an associate partner. So thank you very much. My name is Anna Wawrzynczak, and I would like to present you our project. Could you please put on the slides?
I try to do my best. Remember, what is the name? Does it know? It's, my God, where is it?
Yes, I know I am on your way to the coffee break, but I try to be on time, more or less.
I have too much presentation here. So what is this one? Yes.
Yes, thanks. Great. Okay, so the gyroscope stands for the guidance for innovative reactor of site consequences, plant and emergency. And next slide, please. We know that nowadays the communities in many countries are discussing how to employ the different novel nuclear reactor types. And within the gyroscopes, we want to investigate and address the gaps in the knowledge and capability and advice relating to the environmental impact assessment and emergency preparedness for those types of the reactors. And we especially want to identify the challenges which are posed by the unconstant source terms, novel seating environments, and societal perceptions, and try to find the solution and develop the recommendation to improve the radiation protection advice. Next slide, please. So here the gyroscopes brings together 12 institutions with a broad expertise in emergency preparedness and response. And as you can see, most of these institutions are under the connected under the NERIS platforms. We have 2 new affiliated entities within this project. This is NCBJ from Poland and University of Gothenburg from Sweden. And also we are having 3 associated partners from UK, Norway, and from the Canada. So we are quite a big team, and considering the gender balance, I have checked, we are quite balanced because we have 5 women as a PIs from those institutions. So I think that we contribute to the gender balance of the Pianoforte project. Next slide, please. So concerning the budget, we have asked as much as we could. So 1.5 million euro was the limit, and this is give us about 500,000 euros for the funding the project. We are going to work 3 years, and we are having 4 scientific work packages. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes, thank you very much. The work package number 2 is devoted to the source term characterization for novel nuclear technologies. And here, first of all, we want to focus on the development of the methodology for the source term characteristics for these types of new types of nuclear reactors. Especially to support the regulatory framework development. Here we are considering 3 case studies. The high temperature gas-cooled reactor HTGR Pola that is developed in Poland in NCBJ. The second, compact molten salt reactors, which is under development in Denmark and considered to be the reactor-driven ships in Norway. And the third one is the small light water reactor, which is planned in Swedish coast. As we are restricting ourselves to those 3 types due to the restriction in funding and time, of course, but we want to be quite precise and consider in more details as far as we can those three types of reactors. Next slide, please. The work package number 2 is devoted to the modeling approaches for environmental transport of radionuclides from novel nuclear type technologies. And here we want to define the requirements for radionuclide atmospheric transport modeling across those 3 mentions type of the reactors and the different scenarios from for the emergency preparedness as response, especially taking into account the new seating of those reactors. As you know, there probably will be placed very more closely to the urban area and industry areas than the classical reactors. We want to develop a framework and novel approaches for the atmospheric transport modeling in order to provide the detailed information from the emergency preparedness and response and routines for the AI. We also want to benchmark our used by the partners models using the experimental data and simulate reactors, those types of the reactors accident scenarios to access the radiological consequences, and want to compare this existing atmospheric dispersion models also for the normal operational discharges for these mentioned 3 types of the reactors. Next slide, please. Within the framework number 4, we want to create a framework from the emergency environmental impact assessment and emergency and preparedness and response from novel nuclear reactors. And here we especially will try to compile data on potential those reactors locations based on the proposal and recommendation that we will get. And we here want to also revise the protective action zones, which will be this work will be based on the work package number 3 outputs and data. Also, we want to revise the dose limits and guidelines for these types of the reactors, and especially adjust the UPZ boundaries for urban and industry proximity, update the EPDs for radionuclide pathways and population vulnerabilities, and review ICPDs for agriculture and food safety considerations. Here we want to develop AI recommendation for these types of the reactors for under the normal and emergency conditions, and this package will be summarized by a comprehensive report summarizing the methodologies, fundings, and this package recommendations. Next slide, please. As the previous speaker told, here with the novel nuclear reactors, we are dealing with the problem, with the task, how to explain to the society this new types and to exclude some concerns that could be posted, because those reactors will be definitely located nearer than the usual. So the work package number 3 is devoted to the societal perception of the novel nuclear reactor technologies, and here we want to address this perception as the key to develop this type of technologies. So we want to recognize the importance of the public opinion in planning and seating this type of the reactors near the communities, and also analyze the stakeholders' views to enhance public trust and adapt to communication and risk strategies. And also we want to create the education and outreach materials to face that challenges. Next slide. So what we do expect as the outcome? First of all, we want to provide the guidelines targeted at decision makers in nuclear safety. We want to support the stakeholders' engagement, so we will provide a framework from the novel nuclear reactor assessment and scenario database and recommendations that address the needs identified in IA and other international guidelines. We also want to provide a substantial added value and forward-looking guide for all European countries interested in investigating this novel nuclear type of the technologies. And by the realization of this project, we want to support the safe and effective deployment of innovative nuclear reactors, ensuring that environmental impact assessment and emergency preparedness and response measures are robust and fit for the purpose for this type of reactors. Thank you very much. I hope I was on time.
Yes, thank you very much. Perfectly on time. So we are running a little bit late, but we can have a few moments of discussion. Fabrizio, where's Fabrizio? Okay, yeah. Can you come here? Yeah. Yeah, please start.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for both presentations. And I have a comment as a coordinator. The two projects look very similar to me, so I encourage you really to work together. I think it's really very important. So from the beginning, you should have meetings, common workshop, and it's very important that you are complementary and that you are not going to duplicate studies. Okay?
Yes, if I may, you are completely right. When I saw the Coupled presentation, I see the common points. I think that we will complement each other, especially on the types of the nuclear reactors that we will consider in our studies. I think that this set, the joint set, will be representative.
If I may complement the comment, I think it should be really very important to harmonize the recommendation you will issue on each side so that we do not face situation where we have divergent recommendations.
Yes.
Thank you for your
Okay.
effort.
Any other comments from the audience here? Yes, please.
Well, my question or my comment is about the safety analysis reports for those reactors. They should exist before the commissioning. So, will you review also the emergency preparedness and modeling in this project?
Anna,
Yes,
you don't
please.
mind if I, okay?
Yes, please.
So, about the safety assessment of these systems, there are already other projects running in the EU, and part of the partners already joined this, they are working on that. So an example is KIT, and KIT is working, for example, in the framework of the EU SASPAM SA projects on the water-cooled reactors, but also on other European projects on lead-cooled reactor safety assessment, ranging from the DB analysis to the beyond design basis accident analysis. So including also the source term evaluation. So this is, I hope that this answer to your question. Oh, cool. There is also an additional project at the European level on a gas fast reactor. Concerning catapult in particular, our interest is not going very deep on that because, of course, 5 minutes were not enough to describe all the details. But anyhow, thanks a lot for the possibility. But as you may have hopefully catch by my slides. So the main aim is going to the AI modeling and so on, up to the community engagement. Therefore, no safety analysis. So I would say analysis with integral codes are expected. Also because many papers are already available. We may envisage to do something on that. There are papers where, for example, they postulate some release rates for key radioisotopes, and one may think to expand and build a database on that. But we have to think about that in the next weeks. Okay.
Thank you. Again, I mean, I have one question about. Okay.
To complete the answer, going to also to the Anna's presentation. Please, Anna, correct me if I'm wrong. Similarly, there is a big project in a Horizon on a molten salt reactor safety assessment, and also on a high temperature reactor, I guess. But for sure, I'm quite sure on molten salt reactor because KT is involved also on that. So I'm more familiar on that. So.
Yes, you are right. But here, the main thing that we want to focus on is to compare somehow. We have restricted ourselves to this type of the reactors as far the partners connected under the gyroscopes have experience and access to the knowledge about to the information concerning, especially to the source terms. But here we want to especially focus ourselves and perform the research under this goal that we want to make the framework and the recommendations, especially to revise the protective action zones. Because nowadays, for example, in Poland, there is a perspective that we should have the rules for all reactors, no matter of the time of the type of the reactors. And there arises a question: if we want to calculate and perform the calculations to provide the information about the required, for example, emergency zones around the reactors, and we know that these novel nuclear types reactors will be definitely located, for example, nearby some kind of industry area or relatively closer to the urbanized areas, should those recommendations have to be the same as we have up to now, or maybe the risk or some methods to calculate the outcomes of the possible emergency scenarios could be different, or maybe we should use different modeling techniques. This is the main goal of this project.
Just one comment, and maybe it's a question. Do you think that the the energy crisis, the climate change issues, CO2 will make societal acceptance better, these days? Was that something you would like? Maybe you would like to comment on?
I think so. Yes. I think so. I could say what is happening in Poland right now. As we know, we are starting our nuclear journey, and the social acceptance is definitely bigger than previously. And the more, from my perspective and from my colleague perspective, the main key to this greater acceptance are the prices of the energy.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I cannot say the same for Germany for obvious reasons. But maybe something will change with the new election. For sure, there is German population is now more in favor than this kind of option, moderately in favor. But as far as I see, also with other projects, as you may know, much better than me, there are also other countries in phase out since many years that are seriously considering to come. One example is Italy, with also innovative systems, not the typical water-cooled small modular reactors, but going to LED. So I think that the energy crisis, of course, triggered this. Yes.
Okay, I think we should maybe stop here. We are a little bit over time. Thank you very much again for both the talks and the discussion.
Thank you very much once again.